The sign appeared out of nowhere. Carnival of Shadows, 1 night only. Nobody in Hawthorne saw any trucks or workers arrive. Yet by morning, a bizarre fairground stood at the outskirts of town. Posters promised impossible illusions, terrifying curiosities, and experiences that would haunt your dreams. When I drove by that sign at dawn, I felt a faint chill coil around me. Those bold crimson letters glowed against the pale sky, spelling out a promise of thrills tinged with dread. Though apprehensive, I couldn't deny my curiosity. Nor could my best friend Ava, who insisted we check it out once the weekend came. When we arrived at twilight, a heavy fog drifted through flickering bulbs and warped carnival music. Workers in old-fashioned costumes manned booths, their painted smiles never reaching their eyes. A clown ambled past, pausing to tilt its head at us. Another performer slipped me a black ticket stamped with grand finale at midnight. Ava and I exchanged uneasy glances. Something about this place felt wrong. Drawn to a large striped tent labeled Freak Show, we ventured inside. Lanterns threw ominous shadows on the walls. A ringmaster wearing a beaked, skull-like mask introduced his freaks. A contortionist twisting her body at unnatural angles. A tattooed man whose ink seemed to writhe across his skin. A snake charmer with reptilian eyes, a python coiling around his shoulders. As the show ended, the ringmaster caught my gaze.
Midnight. Don't miss the grand finale.
Exiting the tent, we realized something was off. The crowds had thinned, and the carnival's edges were quieter. A deserted game booth featured stuffed animals scattered on the ground, as though abandoned mid-play. We saw a single child's shoe lying near the Ferris wheel, empty, unlaced, damp for no apparent reason. A distant growl lured us to the Beast to Mare's enclosure, where tall cages stood under black tarps. Something large pressed against one of them, letting out an anguished moan. A chill rattled my spine.
We should leave. This isn't just a show, it feels wrong.
Despite my fear, I felt compelled to uncover more. The carnival's aura seemed to pull at me, as if feeding on my curiosity and terror. Wanting answers, we slipped inside the fortune teller's tent. Madame Leroux wore a velvet cloak embroidered with arcane symbols. Her eyes appeared milky white, as though blind. Without a word, she turned tarot cards onto the table. The moon, death, and a custom image depicting a carnival tent drenched in blood.
You've wandered into a place that hungers for souls. Take heed. At midnight, the carnival demands its tribute. You'll either witness it or become part of it.
Then she clutched my wrist, whispering,
Beware the ringmaster. He is ancient, and your fear is his feast.
We dashed outside, my arms stinging where her icy fingers had held me. At the fringe of the fairgrounds, we found a massive black tent lacking any decorative sign. Inside, our phone flashlights revealed horrors pinned to the canvas walls. Photographs of townspeople who'd gone missing, each face scratched out. Rows of mannequins dressed in carnival attire, twisted into anguished poses. Piles of personal belongings, purses, keys, children's toys. In the center of the tent stood a giant glass box swirling with oily black mist, labeled a preview of the grand finale. The mist churned angrily, almost alive. We fled, hearts hammering, desperate to warn someone yet unsure whom to trust. Night deepened, and the carnival's pathways grew impossibly tangled. Each turn led us further into the maze of tents. Fog thickened, shapes flickered at the corners of our vision, and the music grew jarringly shrill. At last, we emerged before the grand finale tent. A glowing marquee spelled out in blinking letters. Mesmerized townspeople filed inside, some clutching the same black tickets we had. Certain we wouldn't escape the carnival's clutches otherwise, Ava and I joined them, hoping to find a way to expose or sabotage whatever was happening. Inside was an arena-like space lit by a single spotlight on the ringmaster. In the stands, half-dazed onlookers sat transfixed. The contortionist, snake charmer, and other carnival performers hovered around a familiar sight. That same glass box from the black tent, now front and center.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to witness wonders beyond the veil. This is the Carnival of Shadows, and you are more than mere spectators tonight.
With a dramatic flourish, he gestured to the box. Its swirling darkness intensified, and faces pressed against the glass from inside. Faces of the missing, mouths open in silent screams. My stomach churned.
We invite volunteers to discover the carnival's greatest secret.
Several dazed audience members rose, as if in a trance, and stepped into the box through a newly opened panel. Their screams abruptly cut off, replaced by sickening, slurping noises. When the dark mist receded, they had vanished, their terrified silhouettes newly etched onto the glass.
He's devouring them.
I realized we were witnessing a feeding. This box, this portal, consumed souls, and the ringmaster basked in their terror. Panic seized us. We bolted from the bleachers, shoving past hypnotized bystanders. The ringmaster's cackle followed us, punctuated by carnival workers emerging from the shadows, blocking our path. Outside, the carnival had shifted once more, as though alive. Tents leaned at strange angles, the walkways coiling like serpents in the mist. Every corner revealed new horrors. A clown with an impossibly wide grin, teeth sharpened to needle points. A pair of puppet-like jugglers with blank eyes and jerky movements. Ragged forms of missing citizens, stumbling about as though trapped in a nightmare. Eventually, we found ourselves back at the black tent. The carnival workers, now more monstrous than human, closed in, their faces twisted with frenzied glee. Inside, that same glass box loomed under a dim light. A battered sledgehammer lay among discarded props, its metal head caked with rust. If this box is the key to his power, maybe we can destroy it. Without hesitation, I hoisted the hammer, raising it high. The ringmaster's voice crackled over hidden speakers.
You cannot silence the carnival.
But I swung, striking the glass. A thunderous crack echoed through the tent. The glass splintered, and a black mist surged out, lashing at us in a frenzy. On the third blow, the box shattered. Shards flew, and the swirling darkness shrieked like a wounded beast, then collapsed in on itself, vanishing in a violent implosion. For an instant, we heard countless voices, anguished souls, perhaps, crying out before disappearing into the void. The tent around us flickered as if dissolving. Outside, tents collapsed, lights sputtered, and rides fell into disrepair, as though decades of rot set in all at once. Horrified performers convulsed, many dissolving into wisps of vapor. Others, likely enthralled humans, gasped awake, blinking in confusion. From the haze, the ringmaster emerged. Mask melted to reveal a face that was half human, half bird-like, with sunken eyes and leathery skin. Claws sprouted at his fingertips.
You can't destroy the Carnival of Shadows. It is older than time itself.
He lunged, raking my arm with his talons. Ava struck him with a metal rod, and he staggered backwards toward a black, gaping tear in the ground. A final rift opened by the carnival's collapse. His eyes flashed with hate as the ground caved beneath him, and he vanished with a furious roar. Freed from the ringmaster's grasp, the survivors fled the crumbling fairgrounds. By dawn, the entire carnival had withered to nothing, leaving only an empty field strewn with fragments of carnival paraphernalia. News crews found no sign of the ringmaster or definitive proof of supernatural events, just traumatized townspeople telling outlandish tales. In the weeks that followed, some of the missing were discovered wandering the woods or recovered by search teams. Many others were never found. Ava and I couldn't sleep without reliving the carnival in our nightmares. The swirling mist, the pleading faces in the glass box, the ringmaster's raven mask. Months later, I still catch myself glancing over my shoulder when I hear faint carnival music on the wind, half expecting striped tents to materialize behind me. For once, the Carnival of Shadows touches your life. It never truly leaves.